is Jordan Tower with JT News. Well, we got the interview with Taxstone and Meek Mill today, and it was very informative. Now, I can't really give Taxstone... Okay, I'll give Taxstone this. I give him credit for going down and getting that interview because he talked so much about Meek Mill for years, right? That it was a risky interview. He could have got beat up by Meek Mill's crew, but he didn't, okay? But I feel like Meek Mill just needed a good outlet to do a good interview, and this was the perfect opportunity. Wasn't like a Breakfast Club. It was kind of more in his environment, and Tax was willing to come into his environment, into his car, and just where he's relaxed at, not necessarily in Philly, okay? And Meek Mill kind of engaged the interview. He brought up things Taxstone was scared to go into, okay? Like what Taxstone did bring up the Drake thing. I'll give him that. He brought up the Drake thing. Like, yo, what about the back-to-back? You know, how'd you feel about that? Meek said he thought it was hot. And then he was like, but I don't feel like Drake killed me on any bars. What do you think? This is the opportunity where Taxstone was supposed to take and say, oh, nah, not a girl tour, not a world tour, your girl tour, and those kind of shots, right? You're supposed to bring up lines from the song, but he didn't. He said, no, I think it was the beat, and that showed me that it was like, okay, this is kind of a weird interview. Like, obviously, Rock Nation hooked the interview up. We know that. It wasn't just Taxstone reaching out to Meek Mill. Taxstone was affiliated with Rock Nation, and Meek Mill's on Rock Nation. So it made sense for them to kind of control the way the interview would be. He needed to be on an open platform where he could talk. Meek brought up the part World Tour, Girl Tour, and I respected that about Meek. He brought up pieces of things that people had questions about and brought clarity to it, and it made me respect Meek Mill at a different level because he's the one who brought a lot of things. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. He had things to get off his chest. He clarified it, and that's what we've been missing for basically the past year with Meek Mill, and it allows the other things to overtake everything because he's not just voicing his opinion. If someone's speaking ill on you, right? Sometimes you got to bring clarity to the situation, because they're going to go too hard with it. Once they see you're not bringing clarity to it, they go even harder with it. It opened up for Beanie Siegel to try to take Meek Mill out, opened up a lot of doors, okay? So he brought up that he said, yo, honestly, is that a bad thing? Me and my girl picking up money every night? Like, I didn't look at it as a bad thing. To him, he didn't, Everybody else likes to, think that's... I mean, it was a good line, but I see his point too, And then he brought up the Beanie Siegel thing, and he said, I came to studio while they were already doing a diss record. He wasn't even going to respond. So that kind of refutes that Beanie Siegel, right, was... It makes sense. Like, Beanie Siegel talked about this show. He wanted to get Meek Mill on. He thought this was going to bring him closer to get the show done and make some money off of booking Meek. And, Meek Mill said he jumped on the third verse and kind of made it like a response. Like he was doing a light response. But I'm sure he learned from this experience that it's either respond or don't respond. And, basically, he came into a situation that was already happening, and there's no way Beanie Siegel wrote his bars, and I actually believe him on that. And then also Beanie Siegel kind of flipped out because, he wasn't going to do the show. It wasn't right. The show wasn't right to his standards, and Beanie wasn't going to make no money off him, so he switched sides and went over to Game, and then Beanie Siegel got touched at that Puffy concert over something else. Meek said he wasn't even around, and I actually believe him on that because Philly should be going on, and that's what happened, man, and because certain people feel a way, you might get hit up. Now, do I agree that Beanie Siegel got beat up? Not really, but it kind of goes back into the thing where Charlemagne brought up that Beanie Siegel's kind of a hater in that situation. It kind of justifies that. I believe Meek in this interview. I believe him. Okay. He also talked about how people were turning their backs on him. He sees that, to go to Instagram. It's like a recorder. You'll see everybody wishing me happy birthday at one moment when it's my birthday, and then all of a sudden this whole Drake thing happens and everything, and then these guys that are calling you their brothers, they're not there for you anymore. And I think he's talking about Khaled and French and those kind of guys, because you notice they didn't even support Meek Mill's DC4, like they kind of turned their back. They stepped back from him. He noticed that he said, "Don't call me your brother anymore." Okay, only the people that can call me that is O'Malley and people close to me that roll with me every day. I agree with him. Then with the Sean Kingston and Game thing, Sean Kingston threw his name into it, and that sounds like something Sean Kingston would do. So I don't, it's like I kind of believe Meek in this interview. And why didn't he respond to Drake on time? Basically because he said, "I don't have time to sit around and think about another dude." I don't know about that, but I hear him. He was busy on the road getting money, and he didn't think it was enough to respond to. He probably thought it was going to blow over, and it didn't. That's what I think. But I don't know, man. The whole thing with the Taxstone interview, Taxstone took a stance where he's kind of like a fan for years now. And I don't think Taxstone was a fan for years, honestly. Let's be honest. I think he became a fan doing the interview, okay? Or Meek embracing him to do the interview. That made him a fan. It kind of seemed like he didn't really, ask the right questions. It seemed like Meek was the one that answered the right question. So props to Meek. I already gave Tax's props for going down there, but I like that Meek was open to talk about everything. He talked about the 50 thing. That was nothing really to talk about because we know what happened there. 50 just kind of took his shots at Meek Mill, and Meek took some shots back, But, good interview. Meek conducted himself right, talked about everything, got some clarity on all the situations out there, and that's dope, man. So salute to Meek. Great interview. Tell me what you guys think. Did you like the interview? Let me know below.